As darkness fell over the Arabian Peninsula on January 29, 1991, the ground trembled with the onset of Iraq's most ruthless offensive of the Persian Gulf War. High above, aboard a modified Boeing 707 with state-of-the-art surveillance systems, the E-8 Joint STARS crew was vigilant. Their screens flickered with the movement of a massive Iraqi armor convoy advancing toward Khafji, marking Saddam Hussein's forceful bid to shift the war's momentum. With the APY-7 radar detecting enemy movements from over 250 kilometers away, the crew of 21 specialists rapidly processed data and began coordinating the battlefield below. This high-altitude vantage point allowed them to direct coalition airstrikes and ground movements with unprecedented precision, tracking up to 600 targets simultaneously from over 30,000 feet above the battle zone. As the enemy armor clashed with the U.S. Marines and other coalition troops throughout the night, the E-8 Joint STARS orchestrated a critical defense, managing complex operations across thousands of square miles. With new threats emerging every second, the E-8 aircraft became the combined arms center of all the Allied troops, the eyes in the sky for all the men on the ground. While monitoring the offensive, the crew abruptly detected a fresh wave of enemy armor, heading straight into an outpost with U.S. Marines to crush them. Lacking proper anti-armor weaponry, the Leathernecks began to fall back in order, while the E-8, always vigilant, coordinated a series of artillery and airstrikes to halt the Iraqis' advance. Bomb after bomb led to more casualties and an abrupt stop from the enemy column. Saddam's men looked at the sky and wondered how the enemy was detecting them with such accuracy in the middle of the night. Hell was falling from the sky. And there was more to come. The battle for Khafji was not over yet, and the E-8 screens were still flickering with thousands of enemies. In the wake of the Vietnam War's decade-long struggle, the United States military found itself grappling with the ghosts of jungle warfare. The lush canopies and uneven terrains of Southeast Asia had proven formidable adversaries, concealing enemy movements and frustrating attempts at coordinated attacks. Monsoon rains only added to the chaos, further blurring the lines between friend and foe. As the last helicopters lifted off from Saigon, military strategists were already pondering the future. The Army and Air Force, battle-worn but determined, began envisioning a new era of battlefield awareness. They dreamed of eyes that could pierce through the densest foliage, sensors that could track armor across vast distances, and systems that could orchestrate the complex dance of modern warfare. The 1980s saw these dreams begin to coalesce. What had started as separate initiatives soon merged into a single, ambitious vision. The Air Force took the lead, and from this crucible of innovation, the Joint Surveillance Target Attack Radar System, Joint STARS, was born. At its heart, Joint STARS promised a revolution: real-time, wide-area surveillance that could support Allied and American forces across any theater of war. The concept called for a marriage of cutting-edge radar technology and a robust, high-flying platform. As the decade progressed, so too did the technology, with the new program taking its final shape in 1985. Grumman Aerospace rose to the challenge, proposing a metamorphosis of the trusted Boeing 707 into a flying command center. This wasn't just an aircraft with fancy equipment. It was to be a nexus of electronic surveillance, ground radar, and airborne strategy, a single platform capable of orchestrating the most complex combat scenarios. As the Joint STARS program took flight, it carried with it the hopes of military planners and the hard-won lessons of past conflicts. The jungles of Vietnam may have been left behind, but the need for clarity in the fog of war remained as pressing as ever. From the outside, the E-8C Joint STARS might have been mistaken for just another Boeing 707. But beneath its familiar silhouette lay a marvel of military engineering, a flying sentinel born from the marriage of commercial aviation and cutting-edge warfare technology. The aircraft's most striking feature was a 27-foot canoe-shaped radome slung beneath its forward fuselage. Within this aerodynamic shell resided the heart of Joint Star's capabilities, a 24-foot phased array antenna, constantly scanning the Earth below with an unblinking electronic gaze. The choice of the Boeing 707-300 as the platform for this aerial command center was no coincidence. A veteran of the jet age since 1958, the 707 offered the perfect blend of size, range, and reliability. Its 152-foot length and 142-foot wingspan provided ample room for the sophisticated systems required, while its quartet of Pratt & Whitney JT3D 3B turbofans could propel the 150,000-ton behemoth to speeds over 600 miles per hour and ranges exceeding 5,800 miles. Inside, the E-8C was a hive of activity. A crew of 21, 18 Air Force and Army specialists, plus 3 flight crew, manned its array of sensors and communications systems. At the core of their arsenal was the AN/APY-7 radar, capable of surveying nearly 20,000 square miles in a single sweep. Its 120-degree field of view could be tilted to either side of the aircraft, granting an unparalleled view of the battlefield below. The Joint Star's electronic eyes were sharp indeed. Its ground-moving target indicator could distinguish between lumbering trucks and nimble armored vehicles from over 150 miles away. Even helicopters and slow-moving aircraft couldn't escape its gaze, though they posed more of a challenge to track. For stationary targets, the synthetic aperture radar painted detailed pictures of the terrain, revealing hidden fortifications and strategic positions. All this information flowed in near real time to ground stations and command centers, creating a shared picture of the battlefield. In the age-old fog of war, the E-8C Joint Stars offered a moment of clarity, a bird's-eye view that could mean the difference between victory and defeat. On January 29, 1991, Iraq launched its only organized offensive of the Persian Gulf War, targeting the town of Khafji in Saudi Arabia. The operation aimed to draw coalition forces into a ground battle. Meanwhile, the crew of an E-8 Joint Stars was tasked with searching for Scud sites and monitoring Iraqi forces close to the Army's 7th Corps. They detected significant movement, indicating an impending Iraqi attack on Khafji. At around 9:30 p.m., Joint Stars detected Iraqi forces moving toward Khafji in southern Kuwait. The team detected a large gathering of enemy troops and armor, possibly the 5th Mechanized Division and 3rd Armored Division. Thus began the battle that would demonstrate the superiority of Joint Stars in coordinating Allied troops and dominating every maneuver of enemy forces. Saddam Hussein aimed to engage coalition ground forces immediately, hoping to weaken the enemy and potentially prevent being forced out of Kuwait. This offensive was a calculated bid to change the terms of the battle and regain some initiative. The E-8 Joint Stars used its sensors to follow the Iraqi forces' movements, providing real-time data on enemy positions and relaying them to the nearest friendly units, the Leathernecks. As expected, U.S. Marine Corps outposts along the border made the first contact with advancing Iraqi forces during the night. They returned fire and fell back as planned with Joint Stars. Then, Marine forward air controllers directed airstrikes against the Iraqis while holding the line on the ground. Shortly after, Joint Stars relayed its complete reports of the Iraqi movement to the top brass, especially Brigadier General Buster Glosson. He then ordered the Joint Stars crew to fly back to Khafji and concentrate its arc of coverage against the enemy. At around 2 a.m. on January 2nd, the advanced sensors picked up more enemy activity from elements of the 5th Mechanized, 3rd Armored, and 1st Mechanized Divisions, rolling across the border. Joint Stars again identified with precision the moving targets, including tanks and other armored vehicles, for the coalition forces to attack them. The Marines moved into place south of Al Wafra to hold the sector and joined the close-in battle around Khafji with fixed-wing aircraft, attack helicopters, and artillery, all guided and coordinated by the lone E-8 Joint Stars. While the Allied ground troops advanced, the information provided by the E-8 crew became essential to continuously direct the airstrike sorties to decimate the enemy garrisons. over 100 Air Force A-10 sorties heavily pounded the Republican Guard's Tawakalna division far to the northwest of Kafchi. As the recapture of the zone began, Joint Stars once again scanned deep into enemy territory and directed more airstrikes against enemy armor. Thanks to the Joint Stars crew, Iraq's forces were destroyed, stopped, and delayed from conducting any counter-operation. The E-8's ability to track and report enemy movements helped prevent Iraqi forces from gaining the initiative, contributing to the coalition's success. Following the Gulf War, the next highlight of the Joint Stars' career was Operation Joint Endeavour in December 1995. The aircraft was deployed as part of NATO's peacekeeping mission to monitor compliance with the Dayton Peace Accords in the Balkans. Throughout its tour of duty, the E-8C logged over 1,000 flight hours through 95 consecutive operational sorties. The crew achieved a 98% mission effectiveness rate, showcasing its reliability and effectiveness in providing ground surveillance and supporting operations to NATO partners. Now battle-tested, the E-8C Joint Stars were deployed without hesitation for Operation Allied Force, which lasted from February to June 1999. The aim was to stop Serbian leader Slobodan Milosevic's ethnic cleansing campaign against Kosovo Muslims. NATO conducted a ruthless aerial bombing campaign that sought to protect the ethnic Albanian population in Kosovo and ensure their safety. The E-8C Joint Stars played a crucial role in supporting this mission by providing detailed battlefield information and coordinating attacks to avoid collateral damage. Overall, the E-8C Joint Stars crews achieved a 94.5 mission effectiveness rate over 1,000 flight hours during this operation. The first decade of the 21st century saw the Joint Stars fleet in near constant action. Between 2001 and early 2011, these aircraft proved their worth time and again, racking up an impressive tally of over 5,200 combat sorties. As conflicts unfolded in Iraq and Afghanistan, the E-8s became indispensable assets in Operations Iraqi Freedom, Enduring Freedom, and New Dawn. Their extraordinary detection capabilities were put to the test for more than 63,000 hours in the air, providing crucial intelligence and support to ground forces below. As the battles raged on the ground, Joint Stars operators worked tirelessly within the aircraft's advanced surveillance suite, coordinating with troops on the ground and directing precision strikes. This intense period of activity highlighted the aircraft's durability and the crucial support it provided to coalition forces, ensuring tactical superiority in complex combat environments. The last operational mission of the E-8C Joint Stars occurred on September 21, 2023, and was conducted from Ramstein Air Base, Germany. The U.S. Air Force Air Combat Command did not disclose specific details about this mission. The remaining 2 E-8C aircraft were retired to the Boneyard at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, Arizona, in late November 2023. This retirement was part of the U.S. Air Force's modernization efforts and the shift toward more advanced and integrated systems. The USAF stated that no specialized aircraft would replace the E-8C. Instead, it will be replaced by a more modern and integrated system. This new system, the Advanced Battle Management System, comprises satellites, aircraft sensors, and ground radars. The ABMS is designed to provide even more comprehensive and timely battlefield intelligence with improved data collection and analysis capabilities. Robbins Air Force Base will now host new units focused on advanced battle management systems, ensuring continued support for military operations. The E-8C fleet, a stalwart of the skies, accumulated 141,169 flying hours over 14,259 operational sorties since its introduction in 1991. In its 32 years of service, the E-8C provided critical intelligence during major American conflicts, such as Operation Desert Storm, the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, and the latest war in Ukraine. The E-8C left behind a vast legacy. It was a pioneer in integrating advanced radar technology with secure communication systems. Its AN/APY-7 radar could detect and track moving targets over enormous areas, setting a new standard for airborne surveillance and reconnaissance. Its rich operational use led to new tactics, techniques, and procedures for joint operations between different branches. The E-8C Joint STARS was a tool and a pioneer that helped shape modern military doctrine by demonstrating the value of integrated air and ground intelligence, leaving a lasting impact on military operations.